I focus on social commerce and community engagement strategies for the real estate and media industries. And my background is I have developed a number of internet companies. I'm based in San Francisco. One of them, which was a real estate technology company during the go-go years in California between 2003 and 2005. In 2006, I did start one of the first real estate technology blogs, and in 2007, I met Matt at his first Inman Connect. And I'm really excited about how Matt has evolved everything into these Evolve productions. And I'm really happy to say that I'm looking forward to every one of them. So, I also build and manage a national hyperlocal media network that spans over 300 cities. And today's topic will be where social media and social media marketing are headed, and I hope that you come away with some concepts that you've never heard before. Do I do this for the slides? In reality, social media marketing is inefficient, inherently inefficient. Over at RE Tech South a couple of months ago, this tweet got a lot of play. Social media is relational, not transactional. And it's true, and herein lies the problem. It's what Ken was talking about. You can't get a transaction through social media marketing because if you tried to chat up a deal, let's say on Facebook, it's akin to, striking up a conversation in a grocery line, hoping that that conversation will also lead to a real estate deal. I mean, the chances are pretty slim. So that's what social media marketing really is like. There's two challenges to realtors. The first challenge is, how do you get your real estate message out on the social media when you're kind of trained not to talk about real estate? The reason is because only a low, tiny, single-digit percentage of your community even wants to talk about real estate. Housing starts are at its lowest since World War II. This is the news out this week. It's a depressing subject. And so the second problem is social media itself. It takes so much time to devote to. So how do you solve these problems? Here's one of the first solutions. Now, don't really focus. If you want to engage 100% of your community instead of that 2% that really wants to talk about real estate, engage all of them first. That's really important because if you try to just push your real estate talk to your community, like Ken says, they'll turn you off. They'll just say, they'll dismiss you as one, quote unquote, another realtor. But if you engage 100% of your community and you do this by providing this kind of information that every community and neighborhood wants, it's a ticker tape of every single news item that's happening in your community. And if you think about it, even in Destin, there isn't a ticker tape of news in Destin. The second thing they want to know is the things to do, and the third thing they want to know, especially this year in this economy, is every single Groupon, Living Social, and Daily Deal within a square mile of where they live. That's really key. They've made surveys that people look at these things intently. Here's the second solution. You don't have to spend that much time on social media, and contrary to what you've been taught in social media, even today, you can completely automate all of your social media marketing to your community. The reason you can do this is there are now tools that curate and aggregate every single bit of news information and ticker tape it out as it happens. And you can run it through a blog, Twitter feed, a Facebook feed, and it gives you a 24/7 community presence for the rest of your career. Now, here's breaking Bergen County news. It documents basically a ticker tape of everything happening in Bergen County, New Jersey. You could see that if you look at the Facebook analytical application called Insights, you've got 1.5 million post views in a month. That's how many people looked at the news in Bergen County, and of those news, 324 actually posted feedback. They left a message or liked a post in Bergen County News. Strangely enough, automated news feeds spurs community conversation, and that's exactly what you want to have. Now, I'm going to go into some new terms. I'm sure that a lot of you might have heard of social commerce, but I'm going to explain this to you. It's simply social commerce makes social media efficient. It makes social media marketing relational and transactional. It's providing no-brainer win-win transactions. And I'm going to go to an example of the famous, now famous, Groupon coupon. Ever heard of the Groupon coupon for real estate? Okay, here it is. A lot of people haven't. Groupon, 2 months ago, and this is the only real estate coupon they've ever done, they created a coupon for a Chicago brokerage that offered a $1,000 rebate on their commissions, of course with fine print. They offered it to consumers for $25, and 219 Chicago residents actually plunked down $25 for the privilege of working with this brokerage. Now, who wins with this? This is a win-win transaction all around. The brokerage itself got 219 qualified leads of people who actually paid $25 for this privilege. That's free, all free leads. The consumer, ostensibly, who paid that $25, ostensibly makes out with a $1,000 savings. And then, of course, Groupon, if you haven't heard of Groupon before, you should. Groupon takes all the money. That $25 all goes into Groupon's pocket. That's why Groupon is the tech story of 2010. Groupon concepts are applicable to real estate, and no one in the real estate industry understands this yet. The idea here is that what has happened is they've created a compelling value proposition that essentially arm-twisted the consumer and drove all of the buyers and sellers out of the woodwork. There's a word for driving all of the buyers and sellers out of the woodwork. It's a new term. It's called social discovery. It's a term that you will hear as time moves forward. Just like social commerce may be a new word for you, social media, in fact, is a new word. It only came out in like 2009. Social discovery will drive social commerce. The way social discovery works is that it matches up two parties who have an incentive to create a relationship. You know what the best application for social discovery is right now? It's eHarmony. Think about it. It's a matched up service with the incentive to get people married. But the problem with eHarmony is that you have to fill out this long questionnaire to get married, and that's a bother. What social discovery does is your social discovery apps already know everything about you. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, and a blog, they know who you are, so you don't have to fill out this long questionnaire anymore. And so I'll give you a non-real estate example about a really great startup. It's gotten a lot of press in San Francisco. It's only in San Francisco. They just opened in New York. This is going to happen everywhere. Let's Lunch basically pairs up and matches people with common and shared business interests for lunch. Obviously, in San Francisco and Silicon Valley, it matches up tech people. But I've had lunch with Sarah Lacey, the editor of TechCrunch. I've had lunch with numerous people that are going to benefit my business, all just because I showed up for a 1-hour lunch. I generally try to pay for the lunch, too, because you know what? If this ever comes to your city, you should be the first in line to get on this system, because everyone has to have lunch, everyone loves this system, and even if you just pay for the meal, you actually have created a really goodwill feeling with your community for maybe about $20. This goes to the new paradigm of sales. Now, this is quite different. In the future, this is what you're going to be aiming for. It's not a shotgun approach of shooting your community down and trying to see where the bullet hits. What you need is basically keep going, go back there. If you have to convince somebody to work with you, cajole them, you're not doing it efficiently. The two ways to succeed in this new social media landscape is to create one that win-win value proposition like that Groupon coupon, and the second way is to develop, and it's the more realistic way here, I'm going to explain this, is to develop quid pro quo relationships with your community. Now, it mirrors what you're being taught about social media marketing. It mirrors the fact that you are told, share your information. Well, sharing is good, but giving is better. Once you start giving tangible marketing and financial value to your community, it's more than sharing. You're actually helping them a lot. So the next, I go back to building a community media system because I just got an example yesterday of a great way that people, of building your network. One of our realtors who has one of our community media systems got an email, and the guy who wrote the email said, I'm the director of this creative arts guild in your city, and I want to participate in your feeds. The feeds are on blogs, Twitter, and Facebook. They're all over the social media. So what are we going to do with this guy? Immediately, we're going to make him, because he seems legitimate, an admin on the Facebook page of the breaking news system that you saw, and then we're going to include access to our Twitter feeds for his city as well. And we use codetweet.com to allow him access. Now, multiply that with all your community. Multiply that with your friends in your community who run nonprofit organizations, who run restaurants. I have a restaurant now that actually writes food critique articles. I've given her access to our Twitter feeds. She writes food critique articles, and then I also allow her to publish her lunch and dinner menus because it runs through this whole system of news feeds. And it's almost like a little bit of a commercial, like Radio Time advertising. So this is an example of how to build these quid pro quo relationships. Finally, just summarizing, social media marketing is inherently inefficient, but you can automate it. That's the key thing that you probably have never heard before. You really can position yourself as the local media, and it's important that you segregate yourself from pushing real estate as a local media resource. Groupon concepts are extremely applicable to the real estate industry. I think access to a Groupon platform is going to be important going forward. And then finally, think creatively. That's the most important part, because you can create all these quid pro quo relationships if you just think. If someone asks, I want to be a part of your feeds, say, be generous. Yes, of course. This is all for you. Finally, just be modest, rethink your sales stance, and attract people. And thank you.